In the name of the one God, Source, Word, and Spirit. Amen. She had a reputation, and not a good one. There were things she had done and things she'd left undone. Guilt, regret, fears, sorrows, secrets. She had them all. She'd also had 5 husbands. Were they all dead? Did each of them divorce her? Who knows? She is certainly a woman with a past. Everyone knew that. She met him by an ancient well, where Jacob, the father of the Israelites, had met his wife centuries before. The story of both their tribes began in that place. For her, it was home. But for him, it was enemy territory. After all, he belonged to God's chosen people. And her people had lost God's blessing long ago when their ancestors had married foreigners. Their blood had been mixed with people of different colors and cultures, different religions and languages, so they were no longer considered pure enough. The noonday sun baked the soil. It was hot. He was thirsty and alone. His friends had gone for some food when she arrived. Now the law was clear. He should not speak to her. A, she was a woman, so talking to her was forbidden. B, she was a foreigner, so she might make him unclean. And C, she was fetching water at the hottest time of the day. So either she was avoiding contact with others, or they were avoiding her. She approached the well with caution. He said, "Give me a drink." Imagine her surprise. A Jewish rabbi breaking the rules? Was this a test? Was something wrong with him? Was he going to hurt her? Her mind raced, thinking how she could politely refuse him. So she reminded him that they came from different religions. But he didn't seem interested. Instead, he said something about living water. Whatever that means. But without a bucket, he won't be getting any kind of water. And then he tells her that everyone who drinks his water is never thirsty again. Well, that's a new one. But wait a second. He's not insulting her or judging her or making a demand. This is an offer, a gift. He is offering her this living water. And suddenly, her mouth feels dry. Now she is the one who's thirsty. But clearly he doesn't realize what a bad person she is. If he knew, he'd have nothing to do with her. But he seems to already know everything about her complicated past. And again, he doesn't seem to care about the past. Only the future. When there will be no more divisions and no more differences and no more rules. When everyone, everywhere will worship in one spirit. When the Messiah comes. And that is when he reveals his biggest surprise. I am he says. Just then, his disciples return. They see him and her and think, what's going on here? What about the rules? What will people think if they hear that the rabbi has been speaking with this woman? Unlike him, their eyes are full of suspicion and judgment. So she leaves as fast as she can, leaving behind her water jar. Because she doesn't need it anymore. She has tasted the living water. Her deepest thirst has been quenched. If her soul was a water jar, his kindness had filled her so full that she began to overflow, telling everyone, come and see. This is the longest recorded conversation Jesus has with anyone in the Gospels. And it's not with a powerful ruler or the high priest. It's not even with his own disciples. Plus, unlike Jesus' debates with the religious authorities, Jesus treats her as an equal. His equal. A foreign woman with a bad reputation from a different religion. Now, those 4 facts would have been so embarrassing to the early church in their culture that they would have done anything to get rid of this story, to delete it, erase it, forget it. Unless everyone already knew this story. Unless this story was absolutely essential to understanding who Jesus was. Unless this story was so full of God's good news, they could not ignore it. Unless this story wasn't only about a Samaritan woman who'd had 5 husbands, but was actually about all of us who are thirsty. Thirsty for more in life than just eat, sleep, work. Thirsty for acceptance when it feels like we don't belong anywhere. Thirsty for forgiveness whenever we fail to follow the rules. And thirsty for God's love, even though none of us are perfect or pure. If this story is about those things, then it is much too big to contain or delete or erase or ignore. In that case, like the Samaritan woman, we find ourselves filled and overflowing with joy, and we cannot stop telling people, come and see. I've met someone named Jesus. He knows me. He knows everything about me. And he accepts me and forgives me and loves me. And he'll do the same for you too. When our lives overflow like hers. Entire cities come to see Jesus. Entire tribes and nations too. Because like a stone dropped into a well, the ripples in the water keep getting bigger and bigger. And that is why we can all say, thanks be to God. Amen.